Okay, folks, I'm back and I wanted to show you something on the other side. What if, like in problem 8, we don't have a number in front of the parentheses? Well, that actually makes it a little bit easier. We don't have to do the distributive property with anything in the first parentheses because there's nothing in front. So I'm going to recopy the first parentheses with no more parentheses because there's no need for them if there's nothing out front to group them together for. However, on the second set of parentheses, I do have this minus sign right here. And that's very important. We do have to distribute the minus sign. So if it helps, you can think of it as -1. But I just like to think of it as negative. Negative times a negative gives me a positive. So this is going to be plus 10v squared. Negative times a positive changes that one to a negative 7v to the fourth. And negative times a negative gives me another positive, or plus 13. Next, I'm going to combine like terms, and these guys are not in nice, neat order like the last problem we did, so I'm going to put them in order. I'm going to start with the highest exponent. So I see that I have negative 10v to the fourth and negative 7v to the fourth. That's where I'll begin and combine those because they both have v to the power 4. Negative 10 and negative 7 give me negative 17, and it's still v to the power 4. We're not changing their exponent. We're just gathering up all our v to the fourth powers. Then I count down from there. I'm looking for anything with v to the third. I don't see it. So next will be v squared, and I see plus 5v squared and plus 10v squared. So I'm going to combine those two. They're both positive, so plus 15. V squared. And finally, I seem to have constant terms, negative 3 and plus 13. Negative 3 plus 13 gives me a positive 10. No X, Y, Z, V with it. That's it. So I circle or box in my answer, and there's my final answer. I do have enough time that I'm going to move on to one in the next section. I'm going to look at number 12 with you. So if you guys need to pause, pause, but I'm going to move on to 12. And on 12, it's asking me to multiply instead of add. So typically we use the graphic organizer of the generic rectangle to help us organize our work when we multiply. We're basically doing the distributive property still. Every piece of one times every piece of the other. I see that my first parentheses is 2 terms, so I have 2 terms. That's called a binomial because it has 2 terms. My second parentheses has 3 terms. That's called a trinomial because it has 3 terms, just like a bicycle has 2 wheels and a tricycle has 3. So I'm going to put for n plus 6 going down the side and the whole trinomial across the top. And then I'm just going to multiply to get what goes in the box. Remember, I multiply length times width to get the area of the box. So 2n squared times 4n will give me 8n to the third power. To get this box, my length is up on top, 2n squared. My width on the side is 6. So 2 times 6 is 12, and I'm going to have n squared from the top. I'm just going to continue on. If I go too fast, pause, but 4 times 8 is 32, and n times n will give me n squared. To get this box, my length is 8n, my width is 6. 8 times 6 is 48. And I have an n. 4n times 4, 16n. And 4 times 6 to get the final box, or 24. Then my next step is to go ahead and write it out as a polynomial, combining any like terms. So I do see that there are no other n to the thirds besides this one, so I'm just going to bring down 8n to the third. But from there, I notice that on my diagonals, I have like terms, 12n squared and 32n squared. They add up to give me 44n squared. When I look at my next diagonal, I have 48n plus 16n. That combines to give me 64n. And finally, my last box does not have any like terms. It's just a number, and there's no other constant terms, so plus 24. Final answer. There we go. You're going to do that with all of these. Sometimes you even have an x and a y. Be careful of negatives. Keep them. Don't just throw them away. And if you multiply x times y, don't forget it just gives you xy. All right, that's it for your examples. Good luck with this. Go back and watch the video again if you need to, and have a great day.